set it up any better than this? The anthem, Garcia, the American flag behind him, and is that President Trump with a beer in his hand? Is that what you've got? You're muted, so make sure you unmute yourself.
That's John Gruden.
Oh, that's John.
That's Gruden, yeah.
With a brew. This is perfect. Hey, John. We were just talking about him. Where's he gonna? Is he gonna coach the Gators next year, Stephen?
Shit, I don't know. I don't know.
Where did you get that? I've never seen a John Gruden. It's not even a bobblehead. It's like a figurine. Oh, it is a bobblehead. That's a big bobblehead.
Yeah, he actually signed it too.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was an ambassador for Corona. I'm sure you remember those commercials. And my uncle was the president of our distribution company down here in Tampa, and they're just big friends or whatever. So my uncle moved or whatever, and he's like, "Hey man, I got this John Gruden bobblehead if you want." I was like, "Hell yeah, I'll take it."
Heck yeah.
That is sweet.
That's fantastic.
Oh man. Well, we got Stephen has his sleeves on today. He's he's got to head out and go to school, right, and meet with some teachers. So we'll get you out of here in just a few minutes. But hey, did you watch Kentucky and Ole Miss this weekend?
I did.
What'd you think about that? What'd you take away from that game that would relate to how South Carolina will try to take on the Rebels?
I mean, I thought that Ole Miss originally was going to beat their ass, just based on how we kind of dismantled Kentucky. But the fact that Kentucky just absolutely got after them on defense, I think that bodes really well for kind of what we're going to be able to do, especially being at home, especially after coming off a bye week. I've talked to a couple of people, and again, maybe Ole Miss is pissed off about the game, and they're going to try to take it out on the Gamecocks. I just don't see it. I think we're gonna do really well.
All right, so Jackson Dart is awesome. I love watching this kid play football. Stephen, those type of offenses that click, 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 when they can't get on the field, they seem to get all out of whack. Did you see that on Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what I was kind of getting at, is that I think our defensive front is going to cause some major havoc for them. And again, I do think that Jackson Dart's one of the elite quarterbacks in not only the SEC but the entire country. And I'm a fan of the way he plays. But if you get these guys off the field pretty quick, it's going to be a long day for him, I think.
What does a moment like this feel like, Stephen? I know this isn't number one Alabama coming in like they did in 2010, but this team's had an off week to get healthy. They won after they beat Akron after getting heartbroken against LSU. You've got one of the best teams in the country coming to town. You've got a sold out environment. It's going to be a 3:30 start. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Yeah. You of course were part of the 2009 team that took down the Rebels the last time that they were in Columbia, ranked 4th in the nation. What is this week like for this program as they work towards Saturday?
I mean, I think you just take it as one game at a time, and I'm pretty sure that's what Coach Beamer's saying. I think I was talking with some of the local students, or not the local students, but Carolina students had me on their podcast last night, and they were kind of talking about it as well. But it's you take every single game as it is, and I think going into the season, we're kind of looking at the Ole Miss game like, okay, that's a loss. Oklahoma, that's a loss. Alabama, that's a loss. We're all talking about all these losses. Kentucky's a loss. So then, we beat Kentucky's ass. We should have beat LSU. We beat the hell out of Akron. Got a bye week. Now all of a sudden, Ole Miss is definitely beatable, especially after them losing to Kentucky at home. Oklahoma isn't anything special. Alabama, on the other hand, I mean that is Alabama. That's a different story. But Ole Miss is definitely beatable, and I think, like I said, man, I think we have a hell of a shot. And the fact that Vegas has them as 10-point favorites is kind of wild.
I mentioned that too. I'm glad somebody who actually bets on sports agrees with me there. Anybody can cut bet Stephen, Mike and Stephen. They're going to cut bet each other.
TT.com. I don't know what T's are, but I know what T's are. I got to be careful with the next thing that comes out of my mouth. Might be something different. The promo code Gamecocks and bet Stephen Garcia, and as much as you love him, you'll love him even more when you take his money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good luck.
I used to be the Georgia-Bama game kind of screwed me up a little bit.
Oh, did you take a beating on that?
Just
straight point spread bet, or like a prop?
Point spread. But then I did a live bet with the over, so the over on the points. So that was pretty nice.
The over was what was the over? Was it like 48?
It was 51 when I put my bet in.
Oh, was it really?
Was it that high?
Because it was 47, I think, last Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm saying I did like a live bet on the,
you did it live.
Yeah.
Well, must have been first quarter if you got 51, because it was like 51 at the half.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I saw Bama's first drive. I was like, yeah, this game might get out of control. So luckily it did.
On that note, like, obviously when you guys lit it up against Bama in 2010, that was pretty good Bama defense too. But we've seen this before, and my theory is the amount of pros on both those defenses are staggering, right? You got 5 stars all over the place. But great offense in college football, unlike the NFL, trumps great defense almost every time. And so while those defenses are great and they have athletes all over the team speed, team size, neither one of them had an answer, particularly in the second half, for those offenses. Is that something you just generally expect in college football when you have that level of, for example, quarterback play and wide receivers, that no matter what the defense does, we're going to score on you?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think over the last couple of years, the defenses are just handicapped now. If you touch a quarterback, it's a 15-yard, unsportsmanlike roughing the passer penalty. If you maybe grab a little bit of a jersey on the defensive side of the ball with, the corners or safeties, it's going to be some sort of flag. You can't hit anybody. You can't tackle anybody. So, why not take a shot down the field and see what the hell happens?
Mm-hmm.
That definitely, helps the offense. But also, I think the specialized training with, the quarterback training, the receiver training that these guys are doing, during the offseason, not only with their coaches, but with, guys like myself and, the receiver coaches that are around the country that are doing this stuff. These guys are getting open and they're making plays. You got a 17-year-old kid from Alabama, even though he had the kill everybody, thing, which is how is that legal? That's a whole
he explained. Yeah, he did explain that it's from where he supposedly that's from. Gamecock fans will appreciate this. The movie The Program, filmed in Columbia. Now, I still haven't seen that movie from start to finish, but that's what he references with the kill everybody. So somebody can help me on what that exactly is from.
Yeah, I've seen The Program, but that was a long damn time ago.
Well, yeah, it was 1994.
I was there when they filmed it during halftime of the Tennessee game, I think it was, in 92.
I think they filmed Yesterday's, the restaurant. Wasn't some of the
they filmed. They used a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways.
But
that's what
regardless of the kill everybody thing, that kid is a hell of a player.
Yeah, he is. The Ole Miss defense up front is I like those guys. Hey, Walter Nolan transferred in from A&M, great player, but he's not the only one. They got a bunch of good players up there. They do seem a little bit suspect though in the secondary. Bunch of holding and pass interference. It got a little grabby. Last week in the UK game. So when you see that, Stephen, when that happens out there, and dudes are putting hands all over your guys, and do you make it what's going on the sidelines? Are hey, look, we're going to try to draw flags here. Like, how do you attack that?
I think you just, Coach Spurrier was hard-headed as I was, and he was going to do whatever he wanted to do, regardless of what the defense was doing. So it's kind of difficult to say. I don't think you necessarily want to just rely on penalties. If you're an offense, you kind of want to move the ball and do it at your own accord. But watching film, I think you do know that these guys are going to be putting hands. So maybe do a little bit more acting. You have a little bit of hold, flail your arms up, try to get some easy yardage. But at the end of the day, these guys gotta make plays and move the ball and keep the ball out of Ole Miss's offense's hands.
Like Kentucky did. 30.
Exactly.
They were on the field for almost 40 minutes, dude. 40 minutes.
I saw that. It was unbelievable.
I think Ole Miss only ran like 55 plays in the game or something like that. And they are so quick strike. The more plays they get, the more, obviously. That's what I'm most curious to see is how South Carolina, can, again, I don't know how else to say this. I think it's when I say it just should make sense. Like, that's the blueprint for how you beat teams like this. Stay on the field, chop, chop, chop. Now, Carolina has got to get better at converting third downs. Kentucky wasn't any good at it either. Now, Ole Miss was terrible. They were just 1 of 10 offensively. So the Kentucky defense did their job. But the Kentucky offense was like 4 of 16, but they were 3 of 3 or something like that on fourth downs. Carolina has had some success lately on fourth down conversions as well. But I think when it comes to that this weekend, like if you want to look at like a stat, like if you're a stat boy or a stat gal and you like stats, I just have a feeling that third down conversion for percentage for the Gamecock offense is going to be really, really important.
No, I agree. And, I don't think Ole Miss's defensive line is as good as LSU's. That's my personal opinion. That being said, I mean, we ran the ball up and down LSU's freaking throat. So I foresee these guys, kind of running the ball. And have they stated if Sellers is starting yet, or they're going to wait till game time?
No. I mean, he'll be listed on the injury report that'll be released tonight on the SEC, SECsports.com. I mean, look, my understanding is most likely Lenore Sellers will be out there. Not so sure on Rocket, although I think he's progressed nicely. How about that? Like we saw Robbie. I mean, it was just Akron. I get it. We all know that. We talked about this last week, Stephen. Mm-hmm. But from a confidence standpoint, he did grow a lot in that game, and we've learned a lot about that since.
No doubt.
So how comfortable if for some reason Lenoris it can't go or can't go the entire game, or where do you stand from a confidence level with Robbie Ashford coming back in and having to try to go out and win this game this weekend, just based on what you've seen?
I mean, I think confidence makes up. And I was talking with one of the dads of a quarterback that I work with, yesterday, and they got their ass beat, and he's like, yeah, his confidence was down, and this. And I was like, if you're confident, I mean, your confidence is 90% of playing this position. Tom Brady wasn't the most athletic guy, didn't throw the greatest ball, but he is the most confident human being, maybe other than like a Michael Jordan. So I mean, the confidence level is huge, and I think with Robbie's performance, last week, I think that was a huge confidence booster. When who are the receivers that asked if the game plan changed? Wasn't Mazio?
They asked Mazio,
and they were like, it didn't change one damn bit. So when you got guys that are confident, behind you, I think that that's huge. So I'm fully expecting Lenoris to play. I'd be shocked if he doesn't, but if he doesn't, or he gets hurt, I got a lot of confidence in Robbie to get the job done.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I don't want. It's a little bit off topic. So if you were still on,
no. The only thing I was going to didn't when y'all played Alabama in 2010. I know this isn't Alabama, but weren't y'all coming off of an off week as well after getting beat at Auburn?
Yep.
Had the off week and then went out and beat Alabama. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people are always interested into what added value that is for a program when you get that off week ahead of a big ball game. I know they got 3 days off last week. The kids did, coaches did, of course.
Well, Spurrier had the rep of not working like some coaches use that off week as like a damn boot camp, right? Like it was the Junction Boys. That wasn't Steve's MO, from what I understand, Stephen, that he, it was like, look, we can use this off week, not just physically, but psychologically. Let's take a couple days, let's take it a little easy and not run this like 2 weeks of game practice when we don't have a game. Is that accurate?
Very, very accurate. And I know the players definitely appreciated it. I'm sure the coaches did as well. I remember talking with Coach Mangus, and he's like, it's so much nicer to play for or to coach with a Coach Spur, because if the weather's nice and we're having a good practice, he'll call it after an hour and say, hey, let's go play some golf, and like you guys are done. That's not the case with a lot of the coaches that you read about these days. But yeah, I mean, I remember during our bye weeks, I think our last practice was like on a Tuesday, maybe a Wednesday, and as soon as that practice was over, I hauled ass back here to Tampa. So,
right.
And, I think everybody went home, and I think they needed that. And I know that they needed that. Cause like you said, you gotta get mentally just kind of shut down and just, kind of be a kid again for a minute. And it's definitely vital to not only your physical, but your mental health.
Let me ask you a quarterback question. I'm going to go back to that Georgia-Alabama game, and maybe you can relate it to, without throwing anybody under the bus, to your time at Carolina. I'm watching the end of that Georgia-Alabama game, and this is the receiver in me talking. I'm watching that final play, the final pick by Beck, and Beck did not have a great game. Put up some gaudy numbers, but did not have a great game. That final interception, he's throwing to a 6'3", long as hell receiver named Colby Young. He's going up against a 5'11" defensive back. It looks like just a typical fade, like 50-50 ball, let the athlete make the play throw. Was the throw perfect? No. But the wideout never even gets a hand on it. It almost looks like he's out of the play. I mean, if I'm the quarterback, I'm a little pissed because you got to at least you got to make some adjustment. He looked like, I don't know if he was on a different route. Did I see something there? Because nobody was talking about it, but I'm sitting there going, what the hell is the receiver doing on that play?
It almost looked like he was not expecting to get the ball thrown to him.
Right.
And, obviously Carson saw that matchup and he's like, okay, I like it. I'm going to take it. And clearly they didn't let the receiver know that, hey, man, just so you know, you are eligible to catch this ball.
Right.
So,
even if it's a bad throw, you knock it away. Like, you don't just give up on the play. I thought that was a terrible ending for Georgia.
Yeah, it was confusing to say the least. But
you ever chew a guy's ass for not on a play like that? Like, he just kind of lets up and all of a sudden it's a pick?
Oh, absolutely. Obviously you guys know me fairly well. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. Yeah. So yeah, I would give it. I mean, because at the end of the day, like, we're trying to win the damn game. We're trying to move the ball. We're trying to, win championships at the end of the day. And if you're not doing your job and I'm not doing my job, we suck. So if I suck, you need to let me know. But if you suck, I'm sure shit gonna let you know.
Look, here's the thing. I can suck, but you're not allowed to suck. Okay.
Yeah. You don't have 5 or 6 guys trying to knock your head off. So
that's right.
And a coach that's freaking ripping your ass from the sideline.
Right. And it's so typical because everybody at the end of the game is like, "Oh, it's a terrible throw by Beck. Beck's awful. Beck's this." That was a terrible play by Colby Young, in my estimation. Like,
I agree with that.
He completely go ahead and watch the play back and ask yourself, what is the wide receiver doing on that play? There's a great play by the DB, who's another freshman for Alabama, by the way. Not taking away anything from him, but you got to help your quarterback out, even if that throw isn't perfect. He just let himself completely get outmaneuvered and didn't even make a play on the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was. If I'm Carson Beck, I'm definitely frustrated with that effort. But
Steve, we got to get you out of here in just a second. Final quick thoughts here, though, on Ole Miss and South Carolina. Again, it's a 3:30 ESPN kick on Saturday. It's been bet down. Rebels right now 9-point favorites. The over/under is 53.5. It does at least seem, and sometimes the way it seems isn't the way it goes, but it does seem like if South Carolina wants to pull off an upset on Saturday afternoon, they're going to have to play more of their game and less of Ole Miss's, much like the Wildcats did in Oxford this past weekend. So what are you anticipating seeing now that we've got a good sample size of both of these programs?
Yeah, I think just follow the recipe. I mean, they're obviously a better team than Kentucky. I'm talking about South Carolina is, judging on that week two game. I think you just follow their recipe and, control the clock, make their downs, and, just run a bunch of plays. Don't turn the ball over. I mean, the same cliche stuff that, everybody says. So, yeah, I think you just follow their recipe and you got better athletes and just let the chips fall where they may. But I 100% like our odds. The fact that I guess they were 10-point favorites. Now they're only 9. I'm gonna jump on that as soon as we get off this phone.
KUTT.com if you'd like to challenge the great Stephen Garcia. Look, man, I'm sure we'll be on a text or something later on this afternoon. We seem to be every day about all kinds of stuff. So, but hopefully Memphis is doing his homework. You're about to find out when you get to school, and if not, you give him a nice ass chewing.
It's the fourth grader. It's Celia.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No problem. Young ones are. No.
Jamie encouraging you to berate your 8-year-old.
Only Memphis. Appreciate everything as always. Tailgate Talks available on the Chief Sports app, hosted by Stephen and Pat DiMarco. Can't wait for the game this weekend. Can't wait to have you back next week as always, brother.
Absolutely.
Nod the Gruden bobblehead on the way out for us, Stephen. Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. John Gruden agrees with everything you just said.
John, will South Carolina win this weekend?
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
I tell you, man, I like Carolina in this game.
That's brilliant.
Did you
See
see
you, brother.
did you see his thing he just posted?
No.
He was posting about Jaden Daniels. I don't know if it's AI or what it was, but he was wearing like a gray sweatshirt, and he's filming it like I'm doing right now. He's like, I'm sweating so much. I'm watching this kid from the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, and that kid can play. I'll tell you what, watching him makes my heart race and makes me sweat. That kid can play. I'm like, oh my God, man, relax.
That's classic. His quarterback camp segments on ESPN back in the day, that was good TV.
He does it here in Tampa.
He still does that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he does it with high school kids now, and he did it with one of the kids that I trained. I was like, shit, let me come out there, man. I'll come out there and talk some ball.
Yeah, so, you need to get in on that. I'm sure he knows who you are.
Trust me, I see him out at Carrabba's and some of these Italian restaurants all the time.
Hey, Garcia, give me some of them garlic knots.
He's like, you are a hell of a player, man. You were a hell of a player. I would have got you straight. I would have straightened your ass out.
I tell you, man, that Garcia guy.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, good luck.
Straight.
Yeah, I bet you would have. I'm sure you would have, Panama Red.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, boys. I appreciate y'all.
All right, brother.
Thanks,
Thank you. See ya.
See ya.